The year is 424 BC. The enormous Persian Empire, the largest that the world had ever known, is suddenly headless. The long-reigning King Artaxerxes I is dead, but his death doesn't follow a peaceful handoff. It releases instead a torrent of ambition, betrayal, blood. This vacuum at the top activates a savage, chaotic race for the throne between three of the king's sons, each convinced he or she is the rightful heir. You've got there the legitimate king, the chosen one, and then there's his forgotten son, a man of ruthless ambition. And you've got one master governor patiently waiting his timing. This is the story of how a family feud became one of the bloodiest succession crises in ancient history, a tale of three brothers, one throne. Good afternoon, fellows, I'm Xerxes. He was very tolerant, most notoriously permitting the Jews to restore Jerusalem's temple and walls. To outsiders, the Persian Empire seemed like an intransigent colossus, but behind the royal palace's gilded walls there was a storm brewing. One of the core institutions at the core of the empire's future troubles was the royal family. You see, Artaxerxes, just like his predecessors, had a big harem. He had one official queen, Damaspia, alongside myriad concubines. This practice of royal polygamy had a very harmful side effect. A lot of children with degrees of legitimacy. Artaxerxes had at least 18 children, however, only one son. His baby with Queen Damaspia was seen as the legitimate heir. The remainder were concubine sons and daughters, women who existed within the royal family, albeit no longer in the position of queen, and their offspring lived in something of a succession grey area. As tradition generally favoured the eldest legitimate son, the sheer number of potential claimants made for a kind of twisted mess of ambition and revenge. Every half-brother became a potential rival, the spark that might ignite a civil war. The question of who would succeed Artaxerxes, who would step down as his first or second true brother, grew ever bigger. The court became a nest for intrigue, where potent nobles and eunuchs silently tilted toward each other, betting on which son would finally step on the throne. The three sons at the center of this drama, with wildly different trajectories, had turned the scene into the ultimate drama of epic proportions. First there was Xerxes II. His claim was, by all rights, the strongest as the only known legitimate son of Artaxerxes and Queen Damaspia. He was the formal heir, the person his father had elected to inherit the Achaemenid legacy. But legitimacy alone doesn't ensure you'll maintain your head. The historical sources, particularly the Greek writer Cassius, portray a man who was ill-prepared for the brutal nature of Persian power play. Being the preferred choice didn't simply make you a king, it made you a prey. The other player was a man called Xerxes. He was the illegitimate son of Artaxerxes, born into a Babylonian concubine. Xerxes was a product of the harem's cutthroat home, and existing on the fringes of power. He was marginalized and regarded as inferior because of his mother, but also stood in for the latent anger of all the half-royal offspring. His claim was weak in law and tradition, but it was extraordinarily strong in ambition. He was a man who had been denied his birthright and would do whatever it took to stake it. Ocus stood as the third and most formidable of the brothers. Like Xerxes, he had been an illegitimate son. His mother was a Babylonian concubine as well, but Ocus was not some outcast princeling. He was a figure of proven brilliance and immense power. He occupied the strategic and powerful position satrap or governor of Hyrcania, a wealthy province on the Caspian Sea. This provided him with an army, territory, and a big pool of resources. More crucially, he'd forged a potent marriage alliance. His wife Parasatis was his own half-sister, another one of the children of Artaxerxes, and she was of every ounce of cunning and ruthlessness as he was. Ocus wasn't another son of the deceased king. He was a tremendous power competitor in his own right, a methodical hunting host caught in the middle of the fray, eager to be outdone in the final days of 424. His peaceful long reign had all but ended in the last day of 424 BC. The last tablet that gives a mention of him as alive is dated December 24th of that year. His queen Damaspia too died on that same day. With the king and queen dead, the empire's tenuous peace had been destroyed. In this world, there was a power vacuum at the center of the ancient world, and three ambitious brothers stood ready to fill it with betrayal, violence, and war. The contest for Persia's throne had kicked in. The transfer of power, when Artaxerxes I died, should have been easy in theory. His appointed heir, the legitimate son Xerxes II, ascended the throne. His reign was declared out of the Persian heartland. He was the rightful king of kings to the officials who valued tradition, but the throne he had inherited was dangerously unsteady. The whispers of conspiracy that had circulated in his father's dying years blossomed into full-on dissent. Xerxes II's reign would be among the shortest in Persian history, only 45 days. It wasn't so much a chapter as a bloody footnote. though the historical record is scant. Some think he was either tragically naive or the victim of some kind of victory of the vipers in his court. Our chief informant about these events, the Greek historian Capsius, who is a bit dramatic and unreliable, but usually the only one we have, reports that Xerxes II's downfall happened at a festival. He was drunk and jubilant, his guard turned way down. In that moment of vulnerability, a first move was made. His half-brother, the resentful Sogdianus, orchestrated the conspiracy, but he didn't act alone. He allied inside the new king's inner circle, men who were probably offered power and riches in the new regime. Principally, there was a mighty eunuch named Pharnaces, and an even more high-ranking figure named Menosthenes. They were the men Xerxes trusted, that were supposed to give him protection. They were quick and complete in their betrayal. While drunk and vulnerable, the king and they struck down the rightful heir to the Persian throne. The 45 days of Xerxes II's reign were finished, not on a battlefield, but through a filthy palace slaughter, the victim of his own brother's ambition. With Xerxes II behind him, Sogdianus ascended the throne and proclaimed himself the new king of kings. It was a brave and blood-soaked step, and for a moment it seemed to pay off. He appeared to be recognized in the Persian core territories and potentially in Elam. But his grip on power was tenuous from the beginning. His kingship was born of murder, not legitimacy, and the powerful governors of the empire were in no hurry to commit themselves to a usurper. Sogdianus's rule, which spanned only roughly 6.5 calendar months, wasn't one of grand feats. No monuments or inscriptions commemorate his reign. From his power base by the Caspian Sea, Ochus had a fighting army, wealth and widespread support from those who saw Sogdianus as nothing more than a common murderer. Sogdianus sent messages summoning Ochus to the capital, Susa, pretending to speak to him like brothers. The real plan was likely to ensnare him in a trap and get rid of him, much as he had done with Xerxes II. But Ochus was no fool, a far more brilliant and seasoned competitor than his murdered half-brother. He saw the summons for what it was, a death warrant. Ochus would not give in, and instead took the time to stall. He offered cover-up excuses. Perhaps he was ill, or an uprising was spreading through his province, and even then he was secretly mobilizing his army and reaching out to more strong men who were repulsed by Sogdianus's bloody coup. The empire was now split. There was maybe just 3 people claiming the titles of King of Kings all at once in a moment of brief, wild chaos. But as news of the assassination spread, the great men of the empire, generals, satraps, nobles, started to choose sides. And they weren't selecting Sogdianus. He had alienated the very people he needed to maintain his rule through a violent power grab. Their directions of thought turned eastward, towards Hyrcania. They saw Ochus, a man of noble blood, who had a valid, powerful hold on power as well. They witnessed his astute marriage to their much-coveted half-sister Parysatis. They recognized a man who hadn't smeared a brother's blood all over his hands with it. A coalition began to coalesce around him, under the command of Arbarius, leader of the imperial cavalry, with the army and noble people rallying in his honor. The defiance on Ochus's part turned into open revolt. He was also no longer simply governor of Hyrcania. He crowned himself King of Kings, became king as Darius and ready to march. Sogdianus's reign of terror was about to be tested. Now styling himself King Darius II, the rebellion of Ochus is the beginning of the end for Sogdianus's short-lived reign. Now it was about time to bring the civil war that Sogdianus's ambition had begun on him. But Sogdianus held only the capital. Ochus had all the impetus. He had the military elite, including his cavalry commander Artaxerxes, and he earned the support of the Persian nobility, who believed he was the man to restore order, not to destroy it. The ensuing conflict would likely have been brief and definitive. As it turns out, an army built on fear and bribes isn't particularly loyal. As Darius progressed, Sogdianus's aid broke down. The men he had hired to defend him also read the writing on the wall, and they discovered their own fortune and their very lives would be far better served by backing the star of the hour, Darius. Sogdianus was not ultimately defeated in some glorious battle. He was a victim of the instrument that had enabled him to seize power, betrayal. Daring ones in his own camp betrayed him, negotiating for his surrender to Darius's army. The usurper king was captured. The 6.5 months of rule had come to an end. Now Sogdianus was under the control of the brother he tried to kill. His fate, by all norms of the time, should have been a swift, brutal execution. But Darius was clever. To guarantee his siblings' peaceful defeat, he had sworn to the men who turned Sogdianus over. He had told them his brother would not die by sword, poison, or hunger. It was a promise that might have seemed to contain a kernel of hope, but that guarantee had its dark loopholes. Darius sincerely meant to keep the letter of his oath, not the spirit, though, and he'd probably not allow his treacherous brother to live at all. For Sogdianus there was no other manner than the most terrifying and unexpected means of death, suffocation in ash. The historical sources describe a tower or a room that was filled up with deep little ash. The condemned was thrown into the chamber. Then there were the huge wheels that were attached to paddles, spinning through by executioners, churning constantly the ash and filling the air with a thick, choking cloud. It was not a quick death. The victim would take a breath in, breathe in the tiny particles, which would collect inside the lungs and slowly result in asphyxiation. It was a painful and unavoidable conclusion. In this heart-rending and ingenious manner, Darius II performed his vow. Sogdianus murdered not with the sword, poison or starvation. He choked, slowly and dreadful, in a churning whirlwind of ash. The retribution didn't stop there. The conspirators who had contributed to the murder of Xerxes II died as well. The eunuch Pharnaces met his end with stoning to death. The other principal conspirator, Menesthenes, likely fearing a more desperate fate still, committed suicide before his capture. The bloody chapter was at last closed by their deaths. He was elected the undisputed ruler of the Achaemenid Empire on January 10, 423 BC. He was to go on to rule as Darius II for 19 years. His road to the throne was through the maze of conspiracy and civil war, but his successful triumph put an end to chaos. His reign would have its own problems, more revolts, but he had passed through the single greatest crisis at his career stage, the War of Three Brothers, CTA. As the Sogdianus saga tells us, it represents the harsh politics of the world of the ancient periods, with this important tale forgotten with the rising up of kings. Or if you want to get to know some more overlooked stories and visit new scenes from an ancient world for the drama of the people behind such old worlds, then subscribe to the channel and hit notification bell. Conclusion: the 424 BC succession crisis is a deadly bloody period in the history of the ancient Achaemenid Empire. It was a perfect storm of dynastic frailty and individual ambition turned on its head. A deep-seated practice of royal polygamy, created by this kind of child marriage with clashing ambitions, brought about a succession crisis, turned out to be the major fault in the system. It produced a generation of princes, even Sogdianus, men who were near the throne but just far enough from the royal throne to feel a need to grab it. But Xerxes II, the rightful ruler, reigned for only 45 days, a tragic legacy whose influence disappeared long before he rose to his full potential. His brief reign is a reminder that the Game of Thrones' legitimacy is a very fragile shield. Sogdianus, the obscure son, is the story's dark core. His brutal rule of just over 6 months is evidence that power won and held through treachery is not something that people are always doing. He made no monuments, no elaborate inscriptions, only a chilling tale of a man who led his way to the heights only to be cast into a grave of ashes. He is the ultimate forgotten king. A bloody footnote whose tale reveals just beneath the veneer of splendor lies instability that cannot be seen on all sides. Finally they all died, and so came the person Ocus to become Darius II. He was the final survivor of them all, a craftsman so cunning he remained. The other brother he outwitted and murdered to restore the shattered empire he ruled. His ascent in power, and ultimately that vicious killing, highlighted the brutal bloodletting necessary to ascend and rule the Persian throne. The crisis was over, but the scars would endure. There was a precedent now for betrayal and violent usurpation, and a portent of doom for the future of dynasty. Their tale of 3 brothers or a single throne was a dark one, but hardly final for the Persian Empire.